as well. But you have a couple of different things that you're going to have to do. In the directions, they tell you to sketch the graph of the original function, and then they want you to find the intervals on which it's increasing and decreasing, and we'll talk about that. I'll show you how we write that. And then you're going to find the derivative, and you can just use a shortcut to find your derivative, and then sketch the graph of that on the same thing. I would suggest multiple colors. So I'm going to go purple and red. Purple will be my original, red will be my derivatives. If you have that option of multiple colors, do it. Pencil and pen would work well. Okay? So I'm going to graph x squared. And to do that, maybe, I don't know how confident you are in graphing, but maybe we can make a little table of values to graph it, unless you're feeling real confident. But if I put in like -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3, just put in a load of numbers and I can plot those points. Now, why did I pick those points? They're pretty central, they're pretty easy, they fill the graph, I'm thinking ahead. I know that this is squared, -3 squared is 9, -2 squared is 4, -1 squared is 1, 0 squared is 0. Am I going too fast? You guys are okay? 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, and then I can plot those points. So I'm going to plot those as points. The point -3, 9 is left 3, up 9, make a point. So all I'm doing at this point is graphing the original function like they asked me to do, and I did it by using a table. If you didn't need a table, don't use a table. Then I do -2, 4. Left 2, up 4. Trying to find it. 1, 2, 3, 4. -1, 1. 0, 0. 1, 1. 2, 4. 3, 9.
This is our original function.
This is the original. So I sketched that graph. Okay? Now, intervals on which it is increasing. You read increasing and decreasing like you read a book. From left to right. When does this graph start to rise? From where to where? 0 on, right? So it's increasing from, I could even put, well, yeah, because at 0 is where it changes direction. So I'll go 0 to infinity. You remember doing those? Intervals? Okay. And it's decreasing everywhere else. So that's from -infinity to 0. Good? Does that seem reasonable? Okay. Now let's do f prime of x. What's the derivative of this guy? 2x, great. So now I'm going to graph that. How do I graph 2x? Should I make another table, or do you guys pretty much know how to do it? We could do another quick table, x, f prime of x this time. Got room to do it, might as well. -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So that's -6, -4, -2, 0, 2, 4, 6. And I'll plot those points. -3, -6. -2, -4. -1, -2. 0, 0. 1, 2. 2, 4. And 3, 6. And that one's a line, so I will sketch that. and it asks me for the x-intercept of f prime. Where does it cross the x-axis? At 0, 0. All right, I'm done with that particular problem. And so now I can go on to the next one, and I'm going to go through that same process again. Okay? So, do you want to do any problems in particular as you scan through here? Should we do a linear? Let's do a line, right? Should we do number 3? Okay. Yeah. Would you prefer to do number 2?
No, I'm already pushing.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my original. I'm going to graph this line. Now, I really know how to graph a line, don't you guys? You remember doing that? Especially if it's in slope-intercept form.
Yeah.
This is where it crosses the y-axis. And then this is my slope, which is like 2 over 1. So I would start at 3. And then I go up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1, or down 2, left 1, down 2, left 1. You got it.
Oh, it's a consistent slope.
It is. It's just a line. Yeah. So then I can sketch that one. Okay? Like I read a book. When is this graph increasing? All the time. From negative infinity to positive infinity. When is it decreasing? When is the graph dropping from left to right? Never. Great. What's f prime? 2. Okay. How do I graph that? I heard put a dot on 2. I have 2 2's to choose from. Which 2 do I choose? The one on the y-axis, right? And then how do I draw the line? Vertical, horizontal? Horizontal. Okay? I want the x-intercepts of f prime. When does f prime cross the x-axis? I've got always, at 2, and never. Those are the 3 answers that I got. Always, at 2, and never. Which one should we go with? Never. I go with never. Yeah, it crosses only the y-axis. It never crosses the x-axis. So the x-intercepts never exist there. Or I should say, there are none. Maybe would be a better thing to say. Okay? F prime. Good luck. Yep. Yeah. So I'm only looking at F prime, Mitchell. And that's the red one. Yep. Okay. For number 1, there it is. Where it crossed. Just where it crosses the x-axis. Okay? All right. Yeah, only the second one.
Why do we need to do the first one?
Because we don't care about that one right now. We'll talk about it. Is there another one you want to do here if you guys want to scan through and take a look at this? Yeah, no, I'm not going to do number 10. Okay, fine, I'll do number 10. Fine. Okay. All right, so I have a little bit of an issue with this one. But I think we can do it. We have to do this in radians. Okay? But this is in regular numbers. So things I know in purple, and I'll make my table over here. I'll do the same thing of things that we know. But this time I'm going to go negative 2 pi. How about that? Negative pi. Should we do negative pi over 2 maybe? Stick that in there. 0. Then let's do pi over 2. Pi. And 2 pi. I missed 3 pi over 2, but we know what it looks like. I think once we get our points on, we'll be able to do a nice enough sketch. We've done it enough, right? Okay. So f of x this time, if I do put in negative 2 pi, what's the sign of 2 pi? Think of it right here. That's this point.
0.
That's 0. How about what's the sign of negative pi?
It's still 0.
It's still 0. It is. How about negative pi over 2?
Negative 1.
That would be here. Yeah, negative 1. Nice. How about 0?
0.
How about pi over 2? 1. How about pi? 0. 2 pi, 0. I should have stuck in here 3 pi over 2, and I think I'm going to. And then, I know, sorry, a little too late, hey? And negative 3 pi over 2, just to give me a little bit of assistance. This one would be negative 3 pi over 2 would be up here, so that's 1. And positive 3 pi over 2 would be down here, so that one's negative 1. Good? All right. So, negative 2 pi is about negative 6.28-ish, right? Because 3.14 times 2, make it negative. So I'm going to go negative, a little more than negative 6 is 0. But what's negative 3.5 pi? I'm going to take my calculator for that one. So that is negative 3 times pi divided by 2. That would be negative 3 pi over 2. About negative 4.7. So I'm going to approximate that. Negative 4.7 is 1. How are we feeling so far?
I mean, okay.
Ish.
It's just time consuming.
Okay. Negative 3.14. That's 0. I'm just approximating. But I can see it start coming together because I know what this looks like. And then negative pi over 2 would be negative pi divided by 2. Negative 1.57-ish. So that'll be there. And that's negative 1. And then 0, 0. And the rest I can approximate pretty easily. What is that one? 4.7-ish. Okay, I think we got. It's going to continue. Just approximating. It's, ooh, I went too low here, didn't I? What the heck? Who do I think I am? That was bad. Ugh. Where is it increasing? Let's just go with what we did. Let's avoid all this here and avoid all that extra that I did here. Let's go with increasing. It increases from where? That was negative 2 pi to negative 3 pi over 2. So this is from negative 2 pi to negative 3 pi over 2. And then again from, what's this point about? Yeah, that was negative pi over 2. So then again from negative pi over 2 to about pi over 2. Okay. Then we're there. Then it drops. Then it rises again. What was this one here? About... Where was our other negative one? At 3 pi over 2? So 3 pi over 2 to, and then we stopped at 2 pi. All right. Now where is it decreasing? Yeah, from this point here, so from where this stopped, from negative 3 pi over 2 up to negative pi over 2. Oops, sorry. Make it so you guys can see. And then it increased again, and then where that stopped at pi over 2. So from pi over 2 up to 3 pi over 2. And then there's more on both of these, dot, dot, dot. There's more, but we're just going to go in that region. Okay, so let's find our derivative. What's the derivative? Oh, shit. What's the derivative of sine? Cosine. It is cosine. Yep. Okay, now we have to go through this process again, but I'm going to do it here. I'm going to use the same values, and I'm just going to make another piece of this chart, because we'll use these same guys again. So what is the cosine at negative 2 pi? 1. How about the cosine at negative 3 pi over 2? 0. How about the cosine at negative pi? Negative 1. Cosine at negative pi over 2? 0. Cosine at 0? 1. Cosine at pi over 2? Starting to see a pattern? 0. Cosine at pi? Negative 1. Cosine at 3 pi over 2? 0. Cosine at 2 pi? 1. Do you see the little pattern going on? We could continue on this way. So let's do that sketch again. I'm going to do mine in red. So at negative 2 pi, this one is 1. And at negative 3 pi over 2, it's 0. And at negative pi, it's negative 1. And then at negative pi over 2, it was 0. This is getting kind of ugly, but we'll find what we need to find. And then at 0, it was 1. And then 0. And then negative 1. And then 0 again. And then positive 1. I'm sorry I sped that up so much, but I think you start to see the pattern and you kind of know what cosine and sine look like, right? And so then, well, we got the most difficult one done. So now I just need the x-intercepts. So where did it cross the x-axis? Just my red part. Where was this one? Yeah, that was at negative 3 pi over 2. So at negative 3 pi over 2, 0, where else? Negative pi over 2, 0. And I'm just going through the list here. Where else? Pi over 2, 0. And I think 3 pi over 2 was the next one, right? Okay. So we're done with that one. We sketched our graph, intervals of increasing, decreasing. I sort of shortened them up because I got lazy. That's what I do. Then I did the derivative and found the x-intercepts. Done. You guys need to go ahead and do that for the rest of the graphs. Okay? And we'll talk about them. And then there's some problems on the back that you need to answer. It says check your answers with your teacher before you move on, but don't. Just go ahead and finish, and then we'll talk tomorrow. If you end up having to scribble stuff out, we'll scribble stuff out. And if you want to work with somebody, feel free to work with somebody. You know, if you want to split the jobs and share the duties, whatever you can, do that. But finish that up.